So the purpose of this video is to show you what it's like creating a model-driven report manually. This is not necessarily how you would create it, but it's to show you that you have flexibility to edit the report and I want to show some subtle things about creating the report. So what I'm going to do is I already created a new report, and now I'm going to select this financial reporting framework or financial reporting scheme library. I'm going to use the proof. I have a number of reporting schemes, but I'm just going to use the proof. And I'm going to use this version. And I could import all of these, but I'm just going to import one. And then I'm going to create another structure to help you see some subtle things in this application. Okay, so I'm going to import the template for the balance sheet. So the balance sheet looks like this. Notice that it has assets, liabilities, and equity. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to add a new structure. I'm going to add a couple structures here during this video. So I'm going to add this structure. So net assets. So I'm going to add a hypercube. I could select an existing hypercube, and there should be one for the balance sheet because I imported that from the template, and there it is. I could create an extension hypercube. I could create a hypercube using a jig. These are the different kinds of jigs. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to add a hypercube from the reporting scheme. So now notice that the balance sheet hypercube is not in this reporting scheme. The reason is it's already here in the taxonomy. So the application is smart enough to understand that if you've already have a concept, you don't want to import it again. So I want to create the net assets hypercube. So I'm going to grab that. And what it did is it created that hypercube. Now I'm going to go in. So now I'm going to add a container for the concepts I'm going to add. So I'm going to add an abstract container. So here again, I have these containers from the balance sheet. I could create a new one, but I know there's one in the taxonomy, in the base taxonomy, so I'm going to grab that. I want the net assets roll up. I notice it only gave me in the list abstract concepts because I'm looking for an abstract concept. So I want to add assets, liabilities, and equity. Actually, I want to add assets, liabilities, and net assets. So if I add, it already has assets from the balance sheet and liabilities. So I want to grab assets. I'm going to grab liabilities because it exists. But now I need net assets, so I have to go back to the base taxonomy and you notice that assets is not in the list or liabilities, but net assets is because I have not pulled that into the report taxonomy from the base taxonomy yet. So now I'm going to grab that and I'm going to add it. And I'm going to add the rule that says assets equals liabilities plus equity. So I'm going to add a formula. So I added that formula. And now when I go and look at that, you notice the little check there. It expects the value because there's a rule that I added, and it verifies per that rule. So now I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to create, I'm just going to say income statement. So what I want to do is, again, there's no hypercube in there for the income statement yet, so I have to go to the base taxonomy. There's the comprehensive income hypercube. I grab that. I go into edit mode. It automatically grabs the line items. I want to add, it knows I want to add an abstract concept. I don't have what I need in here in the report, so I don't want to create an extension. I want to add it from the base taxonomy. So here is the comprehensive income roll-up. But let's pretend that I want to add a dimension. So a couple things. Click there, and it knows that I'm looking for a dimension because of where I am in the hierarchy. I don't have any dimensions in the taxonomy yet. I don't want to create my own. I want to go from the base taxonomy, and in the base taxonomy there are 4 different dimensions. So I want to grab the scenario dimension. Okay, so now this is where the application, so it did something smart. It took and put the scenario where it belongs. It could have added it below this, but it knew the dimensions go here, so it added it correctly. Now I'm going to add the members. Again, there are no members yet in the reporting scheme. So now this is where the application is not as smart as it needs to be. So here, I get a list of all the members in the base reporting scheme. What I really should be getting is a list of the members of that dimension. So I know that the member of that dimension, this is a member of the dimension. So I add that, and I want to add the other 2 members of that dimension, the budgeted member and the variance member from the base taxonomy. So again, the point is that while the application is smart, this application is not smart enough because it's giving me the list of all of the members instead of the members of that dimension that I selected of this scenario dimension. So I can add more, but this just, repeating stuff. I'll add one more. I'll add revenue. There's revenues. I'll add that. And see how it shows you the what you're creating in a visualization as you create it. So there's one more thing I want to show. So I'm going to go back to edit mode, and creating rules pretty nifty because I can go here and it asks me which rules it wants me to create. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to add one more concept. I'm going to add expenses. So I would have all of them, but I'm not going to kind of don't want to. But watch how when I add the formula, notice how it added the other concept, and I could just keep doing that until. Anyway, I'm going to stop there.